This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, welcome CPA Committee. It's awesome to have you all here for the first CPA meeting since June, I believe. And I'm really excited not only to have this happen, but I'm really excited to welcome Ava, who's new to the city, and as part of her role is going to be helping out with CPA. So we're really, really grateful for your help. So thank you and welcome. And Kyle is helping out for now, right? Is that is part, and you're part of PVPC? PVPC. I almost said PVPA because I'm in education and that was wrong. Right. Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and is helping us out with CPA reporting. Yep. So thank you also for being part of our reinvigorated CPA committee here. And thank you, committee members. I know there's no applicants, but I just felt like in talking to Ava and Kyle, I felt like it was important to create a little momentum so that hopefully we're going to have applicants eventually. But I really wanted to get Ava up to speed on kind of seeing how this committee works a little bit, and just so that when we did have an applicant, this wasn't brand new. So I really appreciate you all taking the time on a Thursday to come. So there you go. So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
All right. Minutes. We got sent two months of minutes, right?
You did. So starting with the May ones.
Does anybody have any comments or questions about the May minutes?
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. And remember,
Yes, you were.
you can vote to approve minutes. We did have clarification on this one time. You absolutely can vote to approve minutes, even if you weren't at the meeting.
That's interesting. On the city council, you usually abstain if you aren't there.
I think traditionally, usually abstain here too.
It's a good norm, I think, right?
Yeah, but you can, just putting that out there. We don't have to approve these tonight too. We could also,
I think we discovered that when we had like low numbers or something like that,
I
that
see.
somebody could.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I just want to make sure my name is spelled correctly throughout. I'm sorry, but it's AALLAN at the top, but then it's like scattered throughout EN in other areas. Just,
I apologize.
oh no, don't worry about it. It happens all the time.
Okay.
It is very common. I have a weird spelling of my last name, so it's totally
I
common.
wouldn't say weird. I would say less common.
It's common.
That doesn't mean weird.
Are you a teacher?
All right. Does anybody want to make a motion about the May minutes?
It's all in there.
I'll move to approve the minutes from May.
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the May minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
I know I wasn't on here, but I'm saying aye.
Great. Thank you.
Excellent. And the June.
And then, sorry, actually, I think the May minutes, I believe were taken by Jamie, but the June minutes, which we're about to do, were taken by Jess. And I just want,
You can see how
no, I want,
detailed they are.
no. It's not exactly, that's not all I'm saying. Before we do anything about the minutes, I want to say a big thank you to Jess for offering to take the minutes of that meeting,
Yeah.
because that is not a strength of mine, and we
I
didn't
don't
have
think it
anybody
was my
here.
best effort, but
That's all right. I
there
want
it
to
is.
say thank
It's
you.
done.
Thank you for taking those minutes.
Sure.
And before, I also want to clarify, you're taking the minutes for this meeting, Kyle?
We're both.
We're
Both.
taking it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. That's really appreciated.
First.
Does anybody have any comments or any questions about the June minutes?
I'm just not present. I guess I'll need my vote, won't you?
I mean, truthfully, if we don't vote to approve the minutes and we vote to approve them in October, it's not that big a deal. So it's really,
Well, I'll take your word for
We
it.
may want to do that. The commission may want to do that. The committee may want to do that because I could make them substantially more detailed with the recording if that would be helpful to the committee. Because we do have access to the recording of the June meeting.
I mean, these are still more detailed than most of the city council. For being honest, a lot of it's like, we talked about this, vote
Right,
2-1.
right.
I guess I mean, I know you both are looking back at minutes in order to create a narrative of what's going on with the CPA. Would it be helpful for you in the future to be able to have more detailed minutes?
I support, if you were willing to, doing it not because the minutes are short or whatever, but I think it would benefit probably seeing the latest business meeting of the CPA and also, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can always watch meetings 1.5 speed.
Yeah.
For sure.
Makes sense. Is that, we don't have to vote on this, but does that sound?
Yeah.
Sound
I
good? All right,
agree.
we'll table that.
We
Excellent.
never would say that unless you had seemed interested in doing that. So you
But that's a
you
good
really do not
lesson.
have to, but yeah.
It's a good lesson. If you volunteer to do something, chances are we're gonna take you up on it.
Excellent.
So don't
Let the
don't
girls take
volunteer unless you're willing to do it. But thank you for doing that.
We try to
Of
say
course.
yes. We're a yes committee, Scott. That's.
We are a yes committee.
We have been traditionally a yes
We've
committee.
traditionally been a
but
yes
we
committee,
are a
and-
no committee now.
Well, we'll get there. So, all right. So I think we're done. The minutes. Public speak. I don't see any public here. And I don't think anybody else. This is really for the non-committee members. So I think we're done with that. Anybody want to speak as public here? City officials. Do you want to say anything more first upon joining the city?
Sure. So I'm really excited to be working with you. I think this is a really exciting opportunity to bring together conservation and CPA, which those are the two wings of my role. So hoping to help you all progress your goals and tie in some of those open space projects, and really looking forward to working with you all.
So help me understand your other role then, besides this.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I'm the conservation agent. So I work with the Conservation Commission, which primarily does the Wetlands Protection Act, handles the Wetlands Protection Act, the city's stormwater ordinance for wetlands related projects, but then also has a series of open space projects that are wetlands sometimes related, but also non-wetlands.
And I don't really know much about city government. I know some, but enough to be dangerous.
You know more than some people.
So are you a department of one? Is there like conservation? How big is
It's under
conservation?
planning.
Oh, it's part of planning.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Who else is in planning these days?
Dylan, Joanna. That's about it.
And Pascalina, the arts and
Oh,
culture
sorry.
coordinator.
Okay.
And then we have 3 folks from PVPC helping us out in
Oh,
the
wow.
process.
Great. And where were you before?
I was working for the Department of Environmental Protection for Connecticut.
Are you a transplant? Did you move?
No, I'm from here originally. I was commuting down to Windsor.
Oh, wow.
This is much better.
Yeah. I
Yes,
bet.
indeed.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And did you want to say anything about?
Just so everybody is aware, the city, while they're searching to fill some of the vacancies in the planning department, has contracted through the remainder of this calendar year with Pioneer Valley Planning Commission for professional planning services. It's a very common service that we provide to our member communities. I'm a senior planner in the land use and environment section. I've been there since January 2023. Typically I support more of our smaller rural planning boards. So this is my first assignment with the city. So I'm excited. It's a little different. There's some translation issues. But I've never supported directly a CPA committee. I know a bit about the housing related topics since most of my work is in land use. Yeah, I've came on board to support Ava. She jumped right into the deep end and completed some annual reporting requirements. We'll get more into that and hopefully helping her find some capacity and be able to balance two related but kind of different roles. So glad to be here.
Thank you.
At some point, you deserve to have our introductions as well,
Yes.
but in the interest of Scott's timetable, maybe we will punt
Well,
on.
You can,
Or at least
We have a
what,
full committee.
or
either
at
we-
least what committee you represent, I
Yeah,
think
why
would
don't
be
we just say
helpful.
that?
Your name and what,
Sure,
like who your appointment committee is.
sure. So my name is Greg Rowland. I am a CPA. And I am on the CPA committee. I actually work at Deerfield Academy in the finance office there. And I'm probably the longest standing member of this committee. And I'm a city council appointee.
Thank you.
And Ivecchia, I'm on the planning board. What else can I say about me? Recently unemployed. But I enjoy the CPA because I'm learning a lot about the projects in Easthampton that are requiring money and learning about the process.
Jess Allen, appointed by city council, and I'm an affordable housing developer.
Tom Peak, I'm the representative from the city council, and I work at UMass doing economic research every day.
and Scott Cowell, you've met before. I'm the chair of the committee, the mayoral appointee, and I teach. And I like being here. I've been here. I guess I'm actually, well, at this table, I'm second longest. But I don't know about John Bruner. He might be
Bruner's
around.
been around a long.
But it's been,
Yeah, and
I'm about a
Jay
decade.
has been around long.
Yeah, that's true. So we've got some of the, but there, we do, and one thing that I think has been really good with this committee is we have people that come from different worlds and really bring a lot of different knowledge to projects from different areas, which is really helpful in that process. I met with both Ava and Kyle a couple weeks ago to talk kind of about where the CPA has been and to get them up to speed. And it was a great conversation. I know part of that you're going to get to as far as the reporting, but so I want you to know how much how valuable that was for, and sort of made me exhale a little bit to have someone to be able to download that all to be able to carry us through. Thank you. Anything else on that agenda item?
There is a roster of CPA members that has some gaps in it. And I was wondering if I could share that with the committee.
Yeah.
When preferably over email, so it's not on the recording and folks could fill in their information as they would like to.
Oh, as far as contact info?
Yeah.
Sure, great. Sounds good. So look for that. Anything else on that? All right, account balances and open project updates. Did you want to show account what you've seen for account balances at this point?
Sure. So we, in the process of getting up to speed on this project on CPA overall, we spent quite a bit of time with your proposed budget created by Jamie, and quite a bit of time with Hadel's, our city auditor's numbers, for what CPA is currently working with. I would say we do not yet have like Jamie's open projects live Excel sheet ready to share with the committee. There was a lot of information that was in Jamie's head on and how that, in terms of how that spreadsheet worked. And hopefully we'll have a more ready to go version of it for you for the October meeting.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, we can share, we can share our understanding of these numbers.
Do you have questions? Maybe that's where, if you've got
Yeah.
if you need to pick our brains about something, maybe this is the time to do that. If there's anything burning, but
I think,
Adel might be probably able to answer it better than us, so.
right. I think I have a general question about procedure. I prepared the minutes from the May meeting. And there was discussion about closing projects with remaining budget, even particularly those past their term of the grant agreement. And I think I'm curious, I understood the conversation to end amongst the committee in preference to invite those project representatives back before the committee to confirm, if that money has a purpose. And if it doesn't, to then return the money to the general fund. But I heard in the conversation, there's a preference to do that kind of at the end of the fiscal year.
Well, I think where we landed is that most of the projects are in the planning department. Or they're city projects.
Right.
And so there's not a lot that are, I don't think there were any, if I remember correctly, when we went through the list that were nonprofits or private entities. I think the majority of them are city projects. And so until the planning department had staff to support or try to track down where those things were at, I think that's kind of where that's where we stopped.
Okay.
I think it's still what we were intending to do and would like to do. We'd probably still want to get reports from each of those city departments, but until there was capacity in order to track that info down, we kind of came to a standstill.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But
No,
that's my
I
memory.
think you're right. And I pulled up the draft of the letter that we had talked about.
Yep.
And actually emailed it here to be able to share it. But I had forgotten that that's where we had kind of ended up.
I went through the
Actually,
spreadsheet.
right, because you went through and said, actually, most of this is planning. We don't have a planning director.
How are we gonna, right?
Yeah. I mean, what we could do, it's not all planning. I know, like,
It's Parks and Rec.
It's parks.
so, I mean, maybe, and actually, I don't think, it might not be a bad exercise to do it with the ones that aren't planning,
Sure.
that we actually do have first. If you want to pull it, just kind of, so I had drafted, if you go to the email right there, basically very quickly, I'm contacting you on behalf of the Easthampton CPA Preservation Act Committee, basically saying, you haven't used these funds for years. We want to know what they're for. Come to our next meeting. If you don't come and you can't give a compelling reason why you still need this money, that it's going to go back. What might be useful is, or my thought, I think, would be able to look through the list.
Yep.
If there are, and just look through
Right.
a lot of our planning, but I know like, the parks, John Mason is there.
Some stuff in the
Rail
parks.
trail.
Manhan Rail Trail, skate park, which
Yep.
seems to be coming back to life again.
But I
so-
think actually with anybody, but that's a good, the skate park I think is coming back to life, but that'd be actually a good reason to be like,
Yeah, we
using it.
still need
Great,
this money.
come back.
Great, and tell us how
and
you're
maybe
gonna
come
use it.
back and say,
Right.
we do want the money because of this. I think what would be good is if you sent that out to find the contact people for those groups.
Yep.
Send out this email, but from you, so when they're writing it back, it's coming to you. You can even be
Sure.
from you. It doesn't have to be from me. But essentially, so that way in October, it's actually probably better. We don't have everybody at once, right? Like,
Yeah,
um,
there's probably, planning could probably get its own entire meeting.
yeah. So I think I would be for that, but I wanted to make sure that sounds good to everybody.
And I did build a list of these projects, and I'm seeing it's the Nonotuck bathroom, Williston Library,
Yeah. So those,
Yeah, I don't remember the library one, but yeah.
skate park.
Skate park.
I guess
um,
Mount Tom North is a
Historic
planning
conservation.
department.
Yeah, I think there was some, if I remember, there was some erosion control issues up there or something, and they were reserving money to deal with
Yeah.
mitigating some of that. So I don't know if
mountain
that's
bike
been done.
trails, I think the mountain bike trails.
Yeah, that's a,
Rescue Parcel,
but that's
planning.
that's
That's
planning.
through
That's not
planning?
me.
That's
That's
was-
conservation now.
Conservation.
Yep,
okay.
yep.
But anyway, so if you're able, capacity wise, to take that on, I think that would be helpful to get us going in the right direction, especially, given, we haven't refreshed as far as money, but that doesn't mean it's endless. So I think this would be still a good,
Mhm.
hey.
Absolutely.
Great.
And the spirit there too is to know what we have available, right?
Yes.
Because we're reaching the bottom of our funding resources. And if there are some dollars that are available to be reallocated from projects that are now defunct or whatever we want to be able to do.
And do you want to clarify what you were understanding about that those funds aren't available to be used this year?
Right. So my understanding from the budgets reviewing, any revenues not budgeted for that come in aren't available for use until the next fiscal year.
Why?
And
And it would
I
revert to the
clarified
general fund,
why.
but at that point, couldn't we just ask for that money to be appropriated back into the CPA?
Well, legally, it can't go out of the CPA.
Would it revert back to
It
CPA?
would have to, because
Okay.
the whole idea is that money is raised
Right.
in a way that it can, like,
So then I don't see what the issue, I mean, maybe you're right, though. I don't know.
maybe that's a Hadel question.
Might be worth having Hadel come to sort of or explain, or at least put it in a memo or something,
I don't
kind of
see why it would.
outlines.
There might be a situation where we have to do, like, this has happened in other departments, where we've had to do an appropriation, like, from that department to that department, to
Okay.
just officially have the council signing off to say, you now have this money
Yeah,
and are
okay.
allowed to spend it. I
Right.
don't know that for sure, but like, we have to do that with, whenever we get new money from, the PEG access agreement, for
Okay.
example. So it could be that it's something like that, it'll just be like the city council will need to sign off on it, but Hadel will know.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just speculating.
I'm sure you're not making it up, so
It's
I'm
in
sure
the-
it's coming
in the
from
budget
Hadel. Yeah.
spreadsheet that was approved.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
line that makes that statement.
Oh, you're talking about the reserve money that we can't spend below a certain amount? Is that the
I don't
number?
believe so,
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't know if you had pulled up that in the budget spreadsheet. Scroll down. It's a clarifying line
Yeah.
was somewhere.
Keep going down. I saw something right
It's
there. Local revenues
this
typically.
one right here, I think, right?
Not available. Use. Total revenue. That's okay.
What's the formula there? Is it a formula?
Additional possible revenues line. Yeah, right there.
Oh, so that is, okay, so that's money that's coming from the state allocation.
Okay.
That's what that is. So we don't, so the receipts come in, I think, in 2 batches.
Right.
And is this making sense? Am I totally making things up? It comes in 2 batches, and the first batch we know, and then the second batch, they don't certify until some certain date.
Yeah.
So that's what I think that is. We're talking about money. And again, I don't know how the accounting side works versus the budgeting side. It's 2 different worlds, and those
Yes,
things don't
very much
always
so.
like, chit chat together. So
We can only spend from the budget. So how I'm reading that is if it's not budgeted, then
We can't spend it.
Spend it.
Which,
But it's a
But that-
line item that we've already
Yeah,
approved.
but that said, I mean, I think there's money in the budget, even if we don't have funds. Like we budget an amount that may
May not
be
be there.
more than we have available to
Right.
spend in a given year.
Right.
I think there's a,
So then this would be filling in funds, basically filling in that budget with funds.
with those,
Yeah,
yeah, I
right.
would think
Yeah,
so. I don't think
yeah.
we have a.
That makes sense.
All right, so I think we just need some sort of step-by-step from Hadel of, if we were to recapture the funds, when would they be available? What's that process? What's the process going back to CPA? I think we would just want to understand what the administrative city process is to, if we were able to recapture some of those, when would they be available? 'Cause I think we were all assuming they'd be available like immediately.
Yeah.
And if that's not the case, that's a horse of a different color.
If you're doing that over email, can you CC me on that? Or if you're gonna have a meeting in person, just keep me in the loop, because I have a funny feeling that if that requires anything, it's gonna require some sort of council
Finance.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I would be leading. So the more that I can stay in the loop about that
Yeah.
process, the more I'll be able to be helpful.
Thank you. All right. 2025 fiscal year budget review, CP3 report filed.
Yes.
Thank you for that, first of all.
What is it?
Yeah.
So this is an annual report that I think Jamie has been filing for years. That is necessary for the city to get funding from the state. And
so that you receive that scheduled November allocation from the
So
state.
that would have been a bummer if we not.
And this is what when I met with them a few weeks ago, that's what they were frantically
Yeah,
making sure to fill it. Like they're filing this report on activity they weren't here for, right?
Right,
Which
right,
is
right,
a
right.
crazy thing to do. So it's a huge lift. So thank you so
good
much
job.
for making that happen.
Can we see that report sometime?
For sure. It's not, it's really just an update for the state on each project. And they're primarily interested in the matching funds, like they want to know how much CPA has appropriated and then also the matching funds.
Yeah, I don't think this committee has ever seen this
Totally.
form. I think it would just be instructive for us to once every few years, like just be reminded what we're submitting to the state.
For sure. It's like an online portal. So we'll have to figure out how to best.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
not like
There,
a
there may be
PDF
a
or
way
anything like that.
No.
to download a spreadsheet version of what was
Yeah.
submitted.
That'd be
So
great.
we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, I deal with forms for my
Yeah,
livelihood, so I'm like, oh, there's a form? Like, why did I not know there was a form for the CPA? It's like CP3.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a robot.
so my understanding is the CP1, CP2 annual reports come from the auditor's office.
I see. Okay.
And then CP3 is really a project by project update. So the CPA at the state level keeps a running log of all allocations and all active projects. So the CP3 report had all of the allocations for new allocations, new projects appropriated in fiscal year 24. And then we provided an update for 7 projects that were previously appropriated funds.
So those projects that have that remaining funds tied to them, are you still reporting on those as well? The ones that have like straggling bits of
We
money?
had to adjust for the handful that
Right.
turned monies last fiscal year. We
Right.
updated the CPA amount
Mm.
under those projects.
The ones that remain, like the
Yeah.
straggling funds that remain,
Yeah.
their report from last year just carried forward. If no
I see.
new action was done,
I see. Okay.
their report just carried forward.
Okay.
CPA preservation plan discussion. We talked about the CPA plan and how that is an annual requirement or annual expectation. What is it? It's an annual
It's more of a best practice.
best practice. Great. So I went back and looked, and the last time I could see a CPA plan was 2019, 2018. There it is. So, or fiscal
Fiscal year
year
2018.
2018.
It was released November 2017.
17. So this is a while ago. And I, Greg, actually, you might be the only one that recollects this. I remember we'd go upstairs and we'd have an annual
Have a
meeting
meeting,
upstairs that we would invite the committee to. Do you remember this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sit at like your desk,
Mhm.
you know?
Fancy.
Yeah, it would be fancy, but but the idea being like, hey, this is the one time a year we want to hear from it, and we invite people and hear from them, and I think that was valuable. And I'm guessing this was put on the agenda because this is something you're recommending that we restart. Is that
Yeah, I think it could be a valuable tool, particularly as the CPA committee is heading in towards a time of more discernment in terms of the
Yeah.
projects that you're funding, to have sort of an overarching vision and tie it in with some of the other components of the city's vision for the next years.
Yeah, in the meantime, since fiscal year 2018, there's been significant planning projects completed. The downtown strategic plan, a new housing production plan, open space recreation plan, a historical study of Main Street extension area. All of those are quite informative to the CPA committee and what projects you may want to prioritize or elevate to fund. I think now is an opportune time to dust it off, bring it up to speed. The final appendix of the plan is typically the kind of the running history of projects funded. It would be nice to have that accessible to the public and also more readily accessible for CPA committee members.
Go for it.
yeah? So I mean, and then the next step would be, so how does that happen? I know the way this happened was Jamie put this together and then talked to people and invited people and then put it back together. And I mean, I think this is obviously a big lift. So and I think it would be spearheaded by you.
Right.
So I guess the question, just bandwidth wise first, like when do you see this fit? And you can think about this.
Yeah.
I think we had done it think we had traditionally done it in the fall, but then it was like November, and then we made it like February.
I seem to remember it's a spring item,
Great. So
actually.
really, so
I
remember-
attending it in my first year as a counselor and then
Really?
not really thinking about
it
never
disappeared.
happened again.
So I mean, I know you've only been here a few weeks, so I
Yeah.
don't want to. And I don't mean to speak for the whole committee, but I think it's unrealistic to say, great, make this happen right away. So I think,
Because when does the fiscal year end? It
Ends at June 30th.
yeah, so I think in the run up to the end,
Ah.
to the beginning of the
You're right.
next fiscal year.
Yep.
is a good time.
When we were
Ended in
preparing,
May.
yeah, for the preservation.
It was
plan.
done in May so that you could vote on it in June so that it would be available for July 1st.
So with the committee.
That makes sense. I'm almost positive there was one in the fall and like one in the winter. Like, I think what would happen is it would be delayed, but whatever.
The Dan Rist administration, a lot of funky things.
That's recorded.
Timing
He might be
wise.
watching at home. All right. Well, so,
No, but I wouldn't doubt that one year the timing.
but I think
was
that
one
your
year.
timing makes
I
sense.
think-
So,
When it was more annual, it was a spring item.
Sorry. I wouldn't say March because May is just a super not great time for my committee. Like,
yeah,
we often frankly have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday budget meetings for different departments. So doing an additional meeting in May is a super not attractive thing for I think most counselors.
yeah.
But
That makes sense.
I mean,
Well, let them,
Yeah,
I think
I
you
would say,
think about
why
it
don't
and
you
you
think
come
about
to
it
us
and
with a
figure out when-
proposal of what you think makes sense for timeline. I would recommend that part of the process is you're just going back and referencing all those plans that were updated.
Right.
Dragging that information, putting it into a draft, and then start that vetting process with the different people that may take advantage of the money. I mean, if the info is already there, it seems like that's easier than having to recreate all of
Yeah,
this,
absolutely.
right? So,
But it sounds, just to clarify, it sounds like the committee is open to really a fiscal year 26
Yeah.
community preservation plan.
awesome.
yay, that's
Any other
exciting.
questions on that?
Nope.
All right. Thank you for bringing that up. 'Cause I think makes sense. Best practice. Anything else?
What happened with, Lathrop? Did they get all of their paperwork?
They did. It all
Okay.
went through.
It all went
It took
through.
a while. I had to,
Okay,
yeah, it all went through.
it's all
It
set.
took a long
Okay,
time. It took longer than it should have.
that's okay.
But we got
And they
it all
knew
done.
that?
Yep, but we all got it through. So
Okay, all right.
So then it moves to city.
I believe it already passed.
it's already passed.
Yep, it's already passed.
Appropriated.
Yep, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yep, so.
Great, because that's what they wanted for.
They wanted a
They
couple,
wanted-
yeah, it took till September, but
Right.
it's
But
done.
we pretty much told them it was gonna take
Yeah.
till September. I mean, as much as they wanted it over the summer.
This is the right time of year for invasives management too.
Perfect. There you go. Thank you.
I know, we just treated some Japanese knotweed on one of our properties.
There you go.
Woohoo.
Anything else?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor? I don't think we have to take a roll call because we're all here in person. Excellent.
Have fun at open house.
Thank you all.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.